Hi, Idris. I noticed it's very punctual. Also, I did not hear that. I did not hear first go off. Hmm. I normally do, so I have it set wrong for here. Aha. Oh, wait. Let me reopen Streamer Bot. Maybe it broke. How do I make it play again? Here.
Unfriggin' believable.
Yeah, it didn't even count for you, so... Okay, so the test... Did the sound go through? Did the test work? I heard it this time, but did it go through stream? Because I can fix it. So then you can reclaim first. So you can keep your counter. Okay, so... I had to reopen Streamer Bot. How do I reset it for a stream? Does it let you grab it? Is there a way to reset? It will eventually be songs for first, second, and third. I just haven't found the right ones yet. The others were used because they were easily available on Blurp. Let's see. I actually don't know how to reset it on StreamerBot, apparently. I've reset other commands. I don't know why I can't do the channel points as easily. Oh, wait, cues. Maybe... Can I fix it with cues? No, it only reads the cue I did. What? It doesn't even... Huh. It doesn't even rate on StreamerBot that you even redeemed it, though I know you did. And check-in didn't do what it was supposed to, right? Are both blocked for you right now? Check. Okay. Manage rewards. Do it through Twitch's side, because I at least can play with it that way. Oh, wait, where's the thing? I know that's descriptive, the thing for me to see. I know what there it is. Okay, so nothing works. I am going to fix it before I actually go kill things in this game. I did see that it's, blocked. Here we go. View request. But if I reject it, will that fix it? I just rejected it. I can check into my own stream. Okay, edit. I will get this to work. I'll have to figure out how to set it up. Big for today, I'll just have first for 2. I'll fix it after. Can you redeem it now?
Unfriggin' believable.
Perfect. Okay. So now I'll have to change that back, but it should be good now. And then check in, I'm gonna do the same. So that's... Okay. For check in, try it. That should work. Perfect. And...
Welcome, traveler.
I can fix it back. There. Okay. There. Messy, but fixed. Scuff! Always scuff. Okay. And making sure everyone can see my birdie link. Because I've been kind of, he's been mostly in the glide outfit because rogue hunting and material hunting. I have my list. Oh, I can get stuff. But I don't know what I should go hunting for today. I need a lot of things. That's so cute. Oh, okay. So I need these. could go Lionel hunting. I need a lot of Lionel parts. Wait, how much Lionel parts do I need again? Lionel guts. Regular Lionel guts, apparently. Oh, and I need Lionel horns, like all of them. Where are their guts? I think I need to fight Madogas. I don't remember. Yeah, I only got 3. I'm not getting. I know I've killed more than 3 Lionels. I'm not getting their guts. That's not good. Also, how is audio and stuff? How does it sound? Side of my mic liking to slide down a little bit. Should I be yelling at Idris, or is this an actual anonymous person? You can tell it is not you. Okay. Oh boy. I can make myself louder. And then game lower. Wait, you see who it is? It said anonymous. Oh, but oh, I guess the recent sub don't work because it's not gift. Oh, I don't know. The gifted's supposed to work unless it doesn't work on the little descriptor thingy. If it's a gift, like anonymous, well, it should say anonymous. But thank you for the gifted subs. A bunch of people got whatchamacallit, subscription. I wonder if they picked the people specifically, or if it's just convenient that I actually know most who's on the list. Because Bella, Durkee, Amara, Morbid, they got subs. Beyond Fable is also a great name. But yeah, I think trying to do it through StreamerBot, it's gonna be a little wonky. That's fair. So I guess it's only gonna be sticking with your name for now? Because for the recent subscriber, it should count sub, like return sub, gifted sub. I think the only thing I didn't allow was like sub bomb. I don't even know what that is. I don't have sounds for this yet. Okay, this time is Idris. I could yell at you. Ducky gets a sub! And Momo! Sub bombs don't show up. Okay, well... Your problem solving. I thought you were giving me subs. You already gave me stuff.
The knowledge, it fills me. It just needs.
It did not work! How dare it not pop up? I know it worked. I spent like an hour working on that. How dare. At least you guys get to hear Grr. But yeah, but I had a visual with it because I actually had it set up. It would have had like a Gur gif playing in the corner. It says it's incoming. It gives it... On my end, I see it in like... Ah! In 3.5 minutes. Who's giving me stuff? Holy cow! I'm just having Link stand here. Why am I getting a bunch of gift subs? That was 10. Holy cow. I know you didn't do that one. You don't do it that, like, back to back. Especially since you did, like, already did a 5. Ah, I didn't expect to be getting, gifted subs, so I don't think I set that up. Wait, did I set that up? What was my list that I said in Discord? Did I set up?
The knowledge, it fills me. It is neat.
Ah, Hugo, hi! Why is there so many gift subs today? We just started. What was my list that I finished? I should have probably not have put it in general chat. Because we talk a lot.
You had one job. Just the one.
The levels. I don't know if I've ever had one this high before. I'm gonna have to add stuff for stream. For like hyper, whatever this is called, hype train. I have? What was the highest I've had? I don't remember. I don't get like bombs of gifts subs very often. It's probably because I forget how to speak half the time. Let's see. Wait, I do have a gift sub. It's just not reading right. So what I have working is follow subs, gift subs, and raids. I don't have one for Hype Train. I don't know what to do for Hype Train. And I have to start drawing some alerts. Let me check my overlay real quick or see what's broken. So you guys gonna see nothing. Should all be working. The dragon is a bit broken. Yeah. How many was that? Holy cow! That's another 20? We're at level 8. It's a new record. What emotes do you guys get for these? You get a stir the pot. Oh, you get a cute cheers to that kitty. That's cute. The goblin's funny. Level 10 is a bleed purple HD heart, which just looks like a 3D heart that's bleeding. How high do levels for hype trains go? I don't... Like, the only people I see go giant high is, like, giant streamers. 8 just feels, like, super huge. Also, hi, Tab. How you doing? I love the kitty cheers one. That one's so cute. Can I do, like, a cheers emote but with tea? Because usually people do cheers with, like, alcohol. Cheers the tea. Okay. Then we're gonna do an animated cheers with tea, with a teacup. I'll make it like Morticia. I thought, I'm like, people get that high, and then I stopped and thought about it, and I'm like, okay, yeah, some people are like god tier streamers and like somehow get a lot of subs. But okay, now that I am not what's the word? The flabbergasted, shocked, surprised. How's everyone doing? I think it's because I ate. I have some coffee, and yeah. And I think me pretending that most of that was you doing it helped. I know that you weren't doing all of it. Yeah. It's I know you only did 6, but me pretending it was you because I could yell at you without giggling if you give me stuff. Otherwise, I'll be forgetting, going like, "Hi, my name is some whatever it is. What are words?" I have to do the same now for my grades and see if that happens. Like, if I can actually remember and do a proper intro like you're supposed to. But, now I have to make emotes faster? Bad! I don't have variety yet. You just get dragon roars. Yes, hi, my name is whatever. I need to. Okay, I wasn't expecting the vents either. I didn't get that set up because. Okay, for everyone coming in, I completely nuked everything stream related. I needed a complete restart for reasons. So, and I only just started coming back to streaming as of Saturday, actually. So I kind of made everything in a week. So new model, new overlay, resetting up OBS, redoing all of StreamerBot, plus adding more stuff. Although that was in a week. So I haven't finished everything yet. But yeah, you'll get more stuff since there's been like a million subs added. I have to like now finish emotes because I gotta update them now. Hype chest? You missed an emote. I missed a golfing emote. Cool. I don't like golf. Golf is boring. Aw, that one's cute. Applause break. Yeah. But yeah. Before all of that happened, I was asking, what should I do first? Should I go? I need to monster hunt for parts, but I haven't decided which monster. So the monsters we have would be a Lionel, which is a giant. What used to be the strongest Overlord boss in Breath of the Wild, but since this is Tears of the Kingdom, they're kind of just mid now. So I need to fight any of those, because I need to fight Standard, which is red. I need blue and silver. And then I need to fight this giant thing called a Frox, which is like a giant frog rock thing. Or I can go hunting for Talos, which are animated rock golems. Because I need their ore. And their hearts. For weapons. Thank you for stopping by, Tab. Oh, that would be a good emote to figure out. Like the ones that you walk away like that. That would be fun. I forget about those. I'm gonna be giggly for a while. So fun fact, since I know there's quite a few people there and newer, usually my breaking is me giggling. So if you want crying, you go bother Idris, but if you want giggles, that's me. Oh, those look great! Those are yours, right? Yes, it is. Haha. They look good. I have dark mode, so they look great. They look great, tiny and giant. You know what? I haven't gone to the deep dark in a while. And I still need to collect the light roots. I've been very busy since the last time I played. Well, not the last time. The last time I streamed. I've been getting all of these light roots. I have been getting all of these shrines. I have collected almost 400 Karoks out of 1,000. What else have I done? Oh, I've been keeping track of the Booble. Oh, excuse me. The Booble gems, because apparently something happens in the game, like story. I guess, like, side quest story wise, if you collect all of them. So I think I got about half of them. Let's see. What else do I need? Oh, I need to collect star fragments, but those are boring to do, so I'm not gonna do them on stream. And I need to collect a lot of food items because I gotta upgrade my horses. Loki! I also already spent my Karok seeds. I need money. You know, I'm gonna go fight Lynels. I'm gonna go kill some Lynels. Lynels are fun. And I don't think most people say that, but Lynels are fun. Oops, wrong button. I don't have proper gear to fight Lynels, but... yeah. Well, I don't get hit very often, so should I fight as the fierce deity or as a barbarian? I only got 2/3 of the set for the barbarian. Question still stands. Barbarian or fierce deity? It bleeds. The bleeding looks weird. It looks less like bleeding and more like it's sweating profusely. Ooh, does it? Wait. Yeah, does that work? That'll be on, like, your guys' end. I won't see it. I don't think. I need to make more of the... okay. After stream... after I make dinner, I'm gonna work on commissions first, and then after I would probably start sketching out the new emotes. I think that would be a good idea, because I want to make sure I get the commissions done quickly. Okay, my giggle fit stopped. So I'm gonna try fighting as the fierce deity and don't get hit. Because, he only has level 1 upgrade armor. And I like fighting the Lynels with at least 2. Which Lynel do I want to go kick butt on? I did mark where they were, right? Because I've been changing the marks. Because this is going to be for Talos. So this should be a Lynel. I don't remember if I changed this one. day has been blessed. That is fair. That was not expecting, like, what, 41 subs? Is that what it was? Was that the count? 43! I was way off. Well, not way off. Close enough. Okay. Just to give everyone a recap, while I was, playing off-screen, collecting heroics and stuff because it is boring to do, I have been basically starting from Goron City and making my way this way and going down. Originally, I started around Akala, around the house, but I needed stuff from Death Mountain, so I started trying to get everything I can over here. I haven't finished because I didn't do this side. Because I also been getting the bubble frogs, marking shrines as I find them. I didn't bother finishing them, so I figured those would be fun for stream instead. But yeah, all the check marks are the caves I finish. They get finished if you get the bubble gem in it. I have been making a lot of trips back and forth. Ooh, wait, this is a Lionel. I know there's a Lionel there. Let's go to this one. What's the easiest? You know what? I don't have an easy shrine to it. How dare, I like my convenience. A thing that I wanted to try to figure out if I could get stuff working properly is I want to do it that if I finish, like, let's say a Kurok seed, that instead of it only counting in chat, I want it to pop up on stream with the counter increasing. I just haven't quite figured. I know people do that for death counters, but I haven't quite figured out how to do it for my purposes. Okay, so he's gonna be this. Okay, yeah. He should be over past that way. I wish I could favorite, like, groups of armors and just pin them, so I can just go like, okay, I am gliding, so I'm using this set. I am gonna go beat up something, so I use this set. Because this is a lot. I don't have all the armor sets yet. But I want all of them, but it takes a bit to just, like, go through them. I glide better with this. Also, I was disappointed to find out that I maxed out my inventory for bows. They didn't change it from Breath of the Wild, and I feel like you should have more, like, carry more bows, because you tend to be in the air more than in Breath of the Wild. If you're actively using, like, the 3 levels. Let's see, this one? I know there was a blood moon last time, so I know it can't be dead, because I haven't gone back to Akala since then. Where is it? There it is. And it's a red one! I need the red one. Fierce Beauty. And... there we go. Come here, sir. Perfect. Fight me! And eat your horn. You know what? I'm gonna turn off my friends here, because they get in the way when I'm trying to fight him. Oh, thank you! I need the logs. Ooh. I have been fighting silvers for too long. Doo-doo-doo. Hee hee. Come here, sir. Guess I could try blocking, see if that does anything. Whoop, I timed that wrong. Oh! I didn't know you spun. Also, let's just... I'm having more trouble with red than I do with silver. Oh. Eee, missed me! Really so hard to headshot. Eee. Okay, that's an interesting spot to land, Link. He's almost dead. Got him. Oh, his eyes glow! Like... All for you. Okay. Before you leave, Fierce Deity's eyes glow. Yeah, go get some nums. Need the bow. Perfect. Okay, now I want to go back to my normal, usual outfit. Or I can have... Actually, I'm going to have a fancy. There we go, Rural Guard outfit. But he somehow keeps crispy clean. I don't remember what I need those for, but I'm gonna collect them. There's something else here. Yes, shock fruit. I think I need that for upgrading the rubber suit once I get it. So that means I killed that one. Excuse me. Could fight the golem here. Maybe I'll get diamonds, because I need... so many diamonds. Because I need a certain amount of diamonds just for the story weapons. Well, I guess not story weapons, like ceremonial weapons? The ones for Gerudo, Rito, Goron, and the Zora. I have the Goron one, I think. I don't have anybody else's because they require a lot. Gotcha. Okay, where was it? This way. I am not as good against the Talus, so I'm just gonna wear proper gear. I need a hammer. I say as I just grab a claymore with a heart on it. I wish I could teleport my horse around like you can in Breath of the Wild if you get the ancient armor. I miss that. I prefer traveling around with the horse than I do with, like, the machines. Get out of here, puppy. It's a battle talus. Okay. Turning friends back on so they can pay attention to the others. Also... Oop. Aw, I didn't one-shot him. I screwed that up. It's fine. You know, I should have remembered this was a battle. Ow. Talus. Ow again. Rude. It's raining. I can't fly up. You guys can keep on hurting yourself. That'd be great. You stop. Oops. Stop throwing things. I am not hitting where I want. I'm thinking I'm aiming. Do this better in the sky. Why aren't I hitting your face? Come here. Hey, look, it's Zelda! Oh, screw this. I'm going up. Come here. You're moving too much. Amber. Hehe. Loot. Ooh, stop with the fire. Ooh, I got some rubies. And amber. Okay. There. Okay, so I want to fuse that. No. Probably with the new, this one. There we go. Perfect. Okay, next one. Is this the closest? It is, and I can't get a horse from my house. I mean, I guess no, wait, no, I can't. I can't just take Raru. Oh, though I can show you guys his house. I have changed stuff. It's been a while since I've streamed Breath of the Wild. I have done a lot since then. I guess I could try to do a lot of the side quests, 'cause there's a lot of them. That's kind of been sitting there. Yeah, look, it's Zelda. She became a dragon. I have no idea if it can be reversed. Anyway, I've changed stuff around. Oh, it has a fish in it now. Here is Raru. He's just vibing. We get into the house by going upstairs now. A shrine. Show off swords. Shields. I want to put the Hylian shield here. I'm pretty sure there is one. I don't know where you get it, though. I want it here, or in the middle. I don't know what I'm putting on the sides, though. For the bows, I found a Twilight Princess related bow. So it's on display. There's also a Twilight Princess related sword. That's also on display. This is the Fierce Deity sword, which I might eventually move to be in the middle. I forget which one this one was for. Forget which game this one was. Name? White Sword of the Sky. So the Zelda game I haven't played. I have it though. I have it now, so I will eventually play it. My kitchen and bedroom. This actually feels so much cozier now that it's just tinier. I wish I could put more, but you're maxed at 15 slots. Unfortunately. Hello, ma'am. I don't think I need light dragon parts right now. You're the first one I've spent very many hours on trying to get those parts. I have a list. Let's see. I finished all of this, so none of this needs to be traveled to ever again. I think I stopped around here, actually. Because I was making my way to go to these parts. And I kind of jumped around to Zora's domain because I wanted some stuff from here. I want to fight something. That would be a Hinox. I need more symbols so I can mark stuff. Could fight a Moldoga. Just go here. Was it here? I think it was here. So I think I need Moldoga parts. Or... there's too many things to do. Newspaper editor Tracy says that people all over Hyrule has been seeing someone who might be the princess. It's not the princess. We know what happened to her. Great, this is a great source of money. I should finish these. And I also get outfit pieces. It's the froggy piece that helps you climb while it's raining, like when the surface is wet. I probably should have pushed those quests earlier, just for that, but it's fine. Let's see, I haven't found a swallow bow. I don't actually know where to find it, because I've been all around Hebra, and I haven't found I found falcon bows, but that's not the same as a swallow bow. I think I have 3 diamonds. I just need the bow, and I can finish the Rito one. This one's almost done. I did find her by accident. Let's go finish this one. I'm gonna go put my winter gear on. Which hopefully should just mean this. Yeah. And maybe that. Map? Oh, she's right at a shrine? Perfect. I don't think I got all the shrines in Heber yet. I'm slowly trying to get... I have this map to help me find Karoks and other things at this point. And I haven't finished going through what I have grabbed. It's a long process. I don't need to be down here. I need to be up. This is the best feature of the game, by the way, just being able to go through solid matter. Just to swim through it. I've been waiting for you. You saved Teach, oh man, do we ever owe you one? Wait, you gotta look at their faces. I'm so stoked that Coach came back to us. Say, major respect for me, man. Who knows what would have happened to me if you hadn't come along. Given that you got yourself stuck in a cave, I had to blow up the entrance. You would have starved to death. Unless you just can survive eating, like, flint or something, but you're not a Goron, so that won't work. I guess there's sticky lizards inside. You could have maybe survived a little bit with that and the glow shrooms. I don't think that's enough vitamins. Not to admit, getting some shield surfing and all through that cave was pretty darn great. I'll be staying away from there for a while, that's for sure. I'm the one that really owes you for what you did. I'll be the one to reward you. Here, take this. Oh. Wait, I need to save the Zonite stuff. Right. Okay, so I learned that there is some awesome armor that I absolutely have to get if I want to fight Ganon, and it's only because of personal story reasons. There is Zonite armor, and I want to beat up Ganon with the Zonite armor and Zonite weapons. Because, since the Zonite failed previously, I want to be the one in their gear to beat him up with it. Because I did the same thing, I did the same thing with Breath of the Wild with my first playthrough, that I used the ancient armor. And the, like, ancient gear. So I want to do the same thing with this one. Because I could just go and grab monster perks and make OP weapons that can do, like, 200 damage. And just use, like, Fierce Deity or Barbarian set to beat them up. But I'd rather use the Zonite armor. Zonite armor, fully upgraded full set, apparently what it does is that wearing it means that if you use Zonite devices, they don't cost anything. What a beautiful thought. That they could be there could be shield surfers like us. Way up there. I'll say it again. Thank you for getting me out of that cave. Also, now that the blizzard's over, come back here anytime you feel like shield surfing with us. I wasn't going to take on a third student, not with these two keeping me busy, but for you, I'll make an exception. But weren't you the one that he saved in Breath of the Wild and learned shield surfing from? It was Selmy, wasn't it? I thought it was Selmy. You don't remember Link? I guess it makes sense. Link only kind of just dropped by, learned shield surfing, and left. Okay, so that's done. There was another quest around here, I thought. Working on this one, I have found 28, so I need 30 more. It's Gerudo Canyon. Gerudo... Ugh. I'm gonna actually have to spend more time in Gerudo Canyon and Goron. So the Elden region. I kind of spend the least amount of time at both those places. She went east. Zora. Flint, 3 diamonds. Zora Sphere. I can get a Zora Sphere. I don't remember where any of them spawn, but I know I can get them. I think I can also get them in the depths, because once you break them in the overworld, they appear in the depths. I have noticed. But it doesn't do that with, like, special weapons. So, like, if I break the Fierce Deity Sword, I don't think I can get it again. I haven't figured this one, so I'm gonna leave that. There's a lot in Gerudo I haven't done. I know there's one... Rain Piper and Tanager meet. Ruined pillars stand together. One of those mighty pillars open the way to my treasure. Oh, I think this is for another set of armor. I just haven't... I have a lot of Goron ones. Maybe I should go finish that. Holy cow, I'm running into... Aw. Big swirly... Oh, that's a whirlpool. Okay. You think we could find a swallow bow? Because then I could finish Rito quests. So if I find a swallow bow, then I can get... I forget what that bow is called. Oh, I love that bow. It's never going to be used in combat. It's going to be put on my wall, but... Because I could just get Royal Guard... There was a Blood Moon. I can get more Royal Guard gear. Next Blood Moon. Be fine. Okay, so... If I were a Swallow Bow, where would I be? Because I haven't seen bows appear in the depths. Just like... Yeah, like the other hand weapons. Shields also haven't appeared on the depths. I should fight those guys, though. Ah, biscuit.
Will you not? Here I come.
Ads. Oh, I missed. Oh, snap. That's too toasty. Rude! Hee hee. Missed. Oh, my sword broke. My other sword broke. If you guys want to just fight each other, we're fine with that. Rude. Whee! Do do do. And boop. Rude. Teehee. Give me this. Hee hee. He just keeps on getting knocked down. Another one bites the dust. And boop! Go down already. There's 3 weapons. There we go. Ads are complete. Welcome back. Nothing really happened. All I did was beat some constructs. And some bokoblins. Give me the chill shroom. Okay. I don't know where I can... I wonder if my little cheat sheet, my little map will tell me where I can get a swallow bow. I don't know if they included those. Actually, I could just look it up. Tears of the Kingdom. Swallow bow. Just because I push the controller on my lap, it does not mean it doesn't exist. Bad switch. Let's see. Where do I find a swallow bow? Right besides the old village chief in the region. Ebra Peak, flight range. There is one at the flight range? I don't remember there one being at the flight range. Oh, where's the flight range? Oh, here's Plunge. Okay, that's the flight range. Isn't the one that's next to the flight range? Oh, it's near flight range, not in the flight range. Okay, because I was like, the one in the flight range I can't take. I don't think. It's like over here. Okay. Okay, so it is in this hut. I don't think I could get that unless I beat the flight range, though, and I can't. I've tried. Will you let me? Can I take a photo? Left over from past training sessions. It's a shame they're simply collecting dust, but I have no other plans for them. You seem like someone who could put them to good use, Link. They're yours if you want them. Yay! I'll drop this. I'm gonna take this. Thank you, bestie! Rebel! Hi! How you doing? Need to get back here, and we'll be finishing. We'll get the special weapon from the Rito. So that would mean we got 2 out of the 4. Yeah, how you doing? What you been up to? Oh yeah, I need to change my sub badges. They don't survive anymore. About done with work. That's good. I hope you had a good work day. Now, where's Best Bird? It's like in his hut, right? Or is he in the chief hut? Since he's the new boss. Where is he? There he is. Teba! Give me an eagle bow, please. It wasn't a good day of work? Oh, I don't have 3 diamonds? I thought I had 3 diamonds. How do I not have 3 diamonds? I've killed so many taluses. I have 2. I'm about to buy another one. I want this quest done. Goron City sells them at a stupid price, but I'll buy it. I'll buy the one. Guess that's fine. I can buy Goron spice while I'm here. I need the spice for the food I need to make for Melania to upgrade my horses. Because once I found out you can upgrade all of them, I had to do them for all of them. And I made a list. I made many lists. Anyway, Rebel, your day of work wasn't too great? YMCA, I know of it, and I know there's a song. In-depth knowledge? No. I just know of it. Of its existence. Let's see. Here's the shop. Buy 1. That's too expensive, you know that, sir? These? I have 100. Fine on arrows. Buy these. Plenty of rock salt. Found my stuff. Oh, okay, so you work in maintenance, but work isn't that fun at the moment because it's not enough to do. Is that understanding that correctly? Which I can get, that could be pretty, boring. Oh, I need to get goat butter. I'm gonna sell... not those. Did you just get sad that I didn't want to sell my rocks? I didn't get Lionel guts again. And I killed another Lionel. Why aren't they dropping their guts? uh... Sides notes, kids. Okay, thank you for stopping by and chatting, though. I hope your day gets better, though. Whether that means you have more work to do, that's what you want, or is just chill. But, like, better in general. So everyone needs, like, a good happy days. I will be trying to figure out what I am going to be doing in this game. Because there's so much to do. I can sell some monster parts. Try not to sell too many horns, because I don't remember... I remember most of the mob horns I need, but I don't remember all of them. I have more of the hoof than I do. How do I get 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 Lionel guts if they're not dropping any? I'm getting the hoof, but not the guts. I don't need any more hoofs. I got the 15 I need. I need to fight more Lionels than I thought I did, or I have to go try to find that... Oh, am I gonna have to find that arena that has the Lionels? Because I haven't found it. I might have to fight Lionels back to back. That's not gonna be fun. For now, I'll just sell a little bit of excess. Keep it like 50 of each part. Gems are gonna have to be higher, because I think the count was... Let's see, Amber alone, I needed like 400, I think. Okay, good enough. I'll make more later. Okay, now let's finish this. Anyway, playing offline from streaming is basically me just watching a video of some random thing and then just going back and forth on this map all day. Go like, okay, I'll do this section for Karoks and other things. I get bored of that section and then move to the next. Try to fight things in between. But I really want this bow, and I know I've been wanting it since I saved Dorito. I'm gonna have to try to fight... I wonder if I can get more... I know you get diamonds if you fight rare Talus, but I'm not getting diamond drops on the overworld, so I might have to go in the depths and fight them there, because they're stronger down there, so maybe they'll drop more. Maybe. Hopefully. The theory. Okay, Teba, now I have the stuff. What do you mean? What do you mean? Didn't I grab the bow? Ah, biscuit. I did not. I'm dropping this here. Apparently I grabbed that to set up the bow. I thought I grabbed the bow. Hey, third time's the charm. I'm gonna grab the bow, then we'll go back, poke Teba, and Teba will give me bow. Which then we go prompt back straight to the house and put it on the shelf. To never to be used again, because I am not hunting for emeralds to replace it. Emeralds. Ha! Diamonds. Woo! That was risky. Yoink. Thank you, sir. I keep on pressing all the wrong buttons. Oh, right. I need to make myself a note. Now that I'm officially streaming, I should actually be advertising. April 20th, I was planning on doing a charity stream. I probably should make that as like a little like timed announcement things in chat or something. Why can't I go up? Go up. But yeah, April 20th, which is Easter Sunday this year. But I'm gonna be doing it April 20th every year. Then I'm gonna have a charity stream. It's for esophageal cancer. Trying to get all the stuff situated. I haven't actually ran a charity before, so it's gonna be kind of interesting. But yeah. I don't know what the symptoms are gonna be yet. I figured out some things. Not everything yet. It's on my to-do list. Hopefully I can figure out some more soon. I'd rather advertise early for it than it being last minute drop. And those materials here. On my honor, I'll make you a bow worthy of the Rito. Why, even the Rito's finest craftsman, Hearth, vouches for my work. I'll make you a masterpiece as good as any of his. Whee! This great ego bow is for you, Link. I'm pleased with how it turned out. Use it in health. Yay! The bow ever breaks, return here, let me know. So long as we can get the materials, I'll make you another one. That is a great story. You're never making me another ever again, unless there is, for some reason, a third installment to this Link story, which I doubt. I don't think they're gonna make a third one with this map. I was surprised that they even did a sequel. Let's see, 116 shrines, 93 light roots, 331 Kurok seeds. I almost have max inventory, because I think max inventory is close to 500 Kurok. It's like 400 and something. But I want all 1,000 so I can see what Hetsu gives me. Yeah, I can fight I think I need to fight Gloom Ganon, don't I? Or at least for his weapons. Shields are there. bow. Okay, it is equipped. I kind of want that in the middle. Give me all of these. Go there. That look okay there? No. You don't have a bow equipped. Of course not. You go there. You go there. Okay. Perfect. I think the bows are done. I don't think you get any other special bow. Unless I find one, and then I'm gonna get rid of the Kurok one, probably. Maybe. Or I'll just redecorate everything again. We'll find out. Oh. Oh wait, I need to get the Goron one again because it's broken. I don't think I can get it again. I can get the thing to make it, like, in the depths, but I'll have to get it again because I don't see it displayed. Okay, so the Rito one is official. I don't think I've ever gotten the Zora one. I might eventually just remove the shields, but we'll find out. Okay. I guess now we're just gonna go into the depths. For that, though, I would like... where's my... Here it is. I would like to go to the castle and get... Oh, I did finish getting every Kurok seed, every cave in, at Hyrule Castle. That was one of the first places I finished. I think, like, one of my first trips back to this playthrough. I finished everything there, so I kind of just come back here to get certain loot. Because you always, every blood moon, you can get the royal bow, the royal weapons, and the royal shield. So periodically I try to collect and grab what I want from there. Because they're, like, aside from, like, the Master Sword, to me, they seem to be, like, next best alternative. How do I get to the castle again? It's up there, right? Oh, this is danger. It's fine. I have the Gloom art outfit, right? Yes, I do. Saves me for 4. Oh, about to run out. Fine. It's fine. It's fine. Now I have to wait. Okay, that's enough waiting. Perfect. Also, I kind of like this armor. Like, look at this. This looks nice. Kind of looks like a sage. Okay, I no longer need to wear this one. I think there is an easier way to get in here, but I keep on forgetting what it is. Okay, I want the shield. So this is the strong Zonite shield, so I don't need this one. Though I haven't taken a photo of it. I remembered. I didn't take a photo of the Great Eagle bow, but... Do I want the sword? The answer is baby. I do want the bow, though. I think bow's on the other side. There's that, so the bow should be here. Okay. I hate that this is as many bows I can carry. I'm gonna be complaining about that forever. It's the same number of slots as Breath of the Wild. But Breath of the Wild, you don't need to be in the air nearly as much. Oh, I think the easier way up was this way. So actually walking up and not being lazy. Okay, I'm gonna have him take a nap. And then we'll go to the depth. Because, I mean, I could just... Honestly, I could just have him heal. Make him eat something. Just dive down, because the depths are right below us. Probably wouldn't be smart, but... It's pretty sure the boss, like the final game boss fight's down there too. 'Cause I assume Calamity Ganon is below Hyrule Castle. Oh, that was water. Where's the pit? Wait, where's the pit? I dived too fast. I went a little too far to the side. I am happy to see recent cheer works. That the subs work, follows work. Very nice. Okay, I think I went a little too far forward. I think I'm supposed to hug. Yeah. It was right there. Why did that lag for a sec? That was weird. Okay. Since we're in the depths, this means we wear our depths nightlight. Ah. Idris. So welcome back. I want to eventually have all the bits be different monsters. I haven't set it up, but since the visuals aren't working properly, I'm gonna have to figure out why. It might be... Actually, no, it should work in general. I might have done something stupid when I set it up, but, yeah. Yes. I was in the middle of looking for my nightlight outfit. I forget where it is. There it is. Hey, look, my only other outfit that's fully maxed out. Ma'am? Huh. How do I get... Okay, so that means there's a light route here. And there should be one right in the middle over here. And with how this looks, there's probably one here. Honestly... Oh wait, that would make sense, because I'm pretty sure there's supposed to be a shrine here that I never grabbed. Because I haven't bothered running around Central Hyrule while trying to be more complete about things. What is over here? This goes more down. Why does this go more down? Don't touch the roots. I am concerned to just run into Calamity Ganon since we're down here. Gloom's approach. That sounds nice. That sounds cool. Hey, look! I haven't... Actually, I have seen in Garon area, but I haven't seen likes down here too often. Oh, you're the shock like. The music changed. Why did the music change? Am I going closer to Ganon? Because if I am, it makes sense, but I'm also like, I don't want to fight him just yet. You're too far away for me to hit. Stop swinging. What would happen if I just go... Oh. I didn't mean to do that. Can I go up? Oh boy. Ooh. It is glowy. Oh, I barely got that. Gotcha. Okay, I have... Oh, rude! I am too curious. I have to keep going. Hey guys, bye guys. Wait, is that it? Oh, this is more complicated than I thought. Okay. What is down here? What is this? Y'all have fun. This just keeps going! wait, I need you guys. Come here. I dropped my shield. I need you guys' eyeballs and wings, please. Y'all can't grab bats. They're like one hit. Where's my shield? There it is. Look how glowy my sword is. Okay, so I think I'm going towards Ganon because we're just going down his monster list right now. I don't care, there's a Lionel. Oh, I definitely can't get hit by him. Just save. And we're gonna fight it. I need... That's a silver Lionel? That's a white Lionel, so that's... Oh boy. 5, 10, 15, 18... Both Saber and Mace Horns. Oh my god. Perfect! You're distracted by them. Works for me. Fight me! Fight me. Oh, I didn't jump fast enough. Fight me! The wall! Well, somehow I did that at the wrong time. Oh, this is too small of a space for this. We both missed. Give me your saber hordes. Fight me. Fight me. With how much I want to fight Lionels, did you guys believe that I dreaded fighting them in Breath of the Wild? Until I learned how to fight them properly. Ah, crud! My Master Sword needs 10 minutes! Gonna do that. Oops. Rawr! Oh, wait. Woo! I think we made him mad. Uh-oh. What are you doing using that? That's new. I've literally never seen them do that before. Is it because we're in a small space? Three for three! Ah, biscuit. Missed! Missed again! Fight me, sir. Roar! I've made him frustrated. Sir, are you okay? You're not navigating very well. Whew. Oh, what? I've seen them do a mock charge before. Ow. There we go. Rawr! Missed! Stop running around and come here. Keep on getting yourself stuck. And you're stuck again. Come on. Whoops. There we go, I win. Welcome back, Rebel. You got beat by a beetle. Ooh. Guts! I should not be that excited to get, like, Lionel Guts, but... Lionel Guts! Dropping that. I'm gonna grab that. And shield, you're about to die, so I'm gonna drop you and grab this. Oh, are the Savage Lionel shields stronger in the depths? Because, the ones from the surface is 62. Oh, should I have been hunting them down here all along? Is this going to be the only way I get guts? Let's fight them down here. I got a sable horn. Okay, where do I go from here? I should mark that there's a Lionel here. There we go. I don't need to fight so many. Honestly, have I ever... I feel like I would have marked if I found the Lionel arena. It's not this one. I don't even like the weapon there, so I'm gonna get rid of that. It's not this one, because I think this one was Bokoblins. Where's the other one? Arenas are huge, so where is... Because I think there's an arena for each monster. Because I know there's a Hinox one. Should have made myself a list. I think this is one. If it's not, then it's a construct one. I think those are smaller. Because I don't think I have the armor that you get from it, from the Lionel one. Maybe it's in the spot that hasn't been, I haven't been over here? What's over here? I don't remember what was in this one. I think the Lionel one's supposed to be, like, more down in the center somewhere. And I still have like this whole section over here to fill out. So it could be over here that I haven't traveled yet through. Okay. Let's see. I need to figure out how I'm getting out of here. There's something up there. Ah, biscuit. Kinda miss Rivali's Gale. I miss going up with Rivali's Gale. It's so much faster. Doo-doo. I need to go very much up. Also, I don't have to wear this miner's outfit down here for the part that says lit up, but I don't know. I find it funny beating up stuff looking like a glowing beetle. Okay, it's over there. There's ice lakes. I feel like I'm going through challenges. I missed. My aim is sucking. You know what? You know what, game? This is rude. Do that. Goodbye, like. Supposed to. The hat I'm wearing is supposed to prevent freezing, but it does not. There, unfreezable. Do it this way. Perfect. Thank you for your loot. Can't freeze me now. Ooh. Thank you. Friends away now. Okay. Back to being a beetle. Uh-oh. Oh. Y'all, this is evil. There's a cutscene. The power of a sage cannot reach you? Just one sage? Get out of here, you. Oh, stop. Too many. Goodbye. Okay, this is definitely like I'm going towards Ganon. Ooh, what's this? And yet I keep on going. Master Sword back? Not yet. The sages can't reach me anymore. I've gone too deep. I am too far. They gotta be concerned. I am kind of tempted to fight Ganon, because I know you can do it over and over. Oh no, 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 no. I need to do proper prep for this. Okay, good shield. I would rather to have this... Let's go with the Soldier Reaper. I need to recover. I did that in the wrong order, but it's fine. Okay. I wish my Gloom set had better armor. I think I don't have the stuff needed to upgrade it. I don't have enough of the stuff. I know it's not the... I don't think it's the rocks I'm short on. What do I need for the armor? Oh, I need to fight more frocks. That's why. I don't have enough. Wait. There's another... No, there's only two. There isn't a third Frox type. If there is, I have not seen it. Oh boy. No, it's fine. I need stuff from Ganon. So I'm gonna be doing this. There. Fight me! Hey, Phantom! Ooh, you got a spear. Give. It's gonna be hard. Whoa! I say as I block him. Too early. Stop infecting everything. I can't time all of his stuff well. I haven't fought him enough. There we go. Come here, Ganon. Poke me. Too early. Fight me. Fight me. Can't do the fast ones. Doesn't register fast enough for me. I do those fine, it looks like. And I do those too early. Or too late. This is the most chill Phantom Ganon fight I've had. What the heck? So you're gonna give me a Gloom Sphere instead of the sword. Come on. Too early. I got impatient. Come on. One more. There we go. I beat you up, sir. I don't need any more of your bows. That's not what I wanted. Already took a photo of that. And that. Perfect. That's not what I wanted. Drop. Here. There we go. Perfect. I can have my master sword back. Be a very glowy lad. Okay. Remember what when the gloom spawn comes up? I was panicked more and going like, nope, not fighting them, and I just like beat them up. Can I go this way? Oh, see anywhere? Maybe that way? I can't climb that, so I have to maybe do that. I can climb it from over here. Like, there we go. You've come so far. Yeah. I am not nearly as panicked all the time with the gloom Hey, a moblin! You. I think I need your horns. Come here. I like how I could just dance around him and just keep on attacking. He couldn't get to me. Ooh, a royal bow. I can get rid of this. Give me that. That's based off of hearts. The more maximum hearts I have, the stronger the attacks are, so I'm saving those. I probably only really need 2 of them, but... Especially now that I can just fight Ganon without issue. Well, Gloom Ganon. Dehydrated Ganon. Hey, wait, you were right! I fought some Dehydrated Ganon today. It's fine. I can get more bombs. I can actually buy them down here. I just haven't in a bit. I think now I might have fought everything to the point where I don't panic fighting them. I think I've beaten everything at least once. You can see the future. You can see the future. It's like... It's like, that one... What's that cast? I'm trying to remember his name from, Team 4-Star Bridge when they did DBZ early on, and there's just like that alien dude. I was like, I could see the future. I just think of that. This is a very long cave. I should probably make myself some stuff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's make 5 meals. I need to get rid of... Do I have the Sundelions? I do. Two. How many hearts is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. Make a backup one. I can just go to the sky and get more. I'll have 2 backup ones. There we go. Okay, so what do I have? I have this. I forget what recipes I have. Check recipe. Here we go. Da, 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 da. Okay, so just shrooms. Not shrooms, truffles. Okay. I do 1 meat and a truffle. That actually might be best. Okay, so what did I say? I was going to do 1 meat and a truffle. Welcome back from the adpocalypse. This one? I apparently didn't reset you, so you go here. I grab this. Are you... Okay, let's put you here. Grab this. I don't know where the meat went. Okay, down here. There we go. That was weird. It dropped on it instead of cooking instead. Okay. 1 more of those. Have the other meat. Truffle. There we go. It's like he's never been damaged. Perfect. Forgotten Foundation. Did the music just do a weird? I feel like I'm going, like, deeper into an issue that I shouldn't be continuing forward with. Three headshots. Give me your horn. You can keep everything else. Okay. Honestly, the Zonite's also good. Is that it? That is! Oh no. I need their parts though. Welcome back, Rebel. Okay, I am going through the monster list. I think I'm going towards Ganon. I am more certain about it now. That did not kill you. That's not good. It was supposed to kill you. Give me the Gibdo bones. I need those to farm Gleox, that's their name. The three-headed dragons. I stood a little too close to that. It's fine. Hey, wait a minute! Hold up. I am going towards Ganon because I remember this room from the beginning of the game. Him and Zelda was going through and looking through something similar to this that was underneath Hyrule Castle, and right now we're still underneath Hyrule Castle. And on the way down from there was Ganon. I think if I see him in the distance, I'm just gonna like nope out and come back later. Pretty sure I could beat him, but I'm just like I want to do the plan. I want to get everything else done. Yep, look, it's that room. It's the room. Ganon's down that way. Demon King Ganon sends his hordes of monsters to go fight the warriors. The Hylians? Yeah, the Hylians. Hold up. Ganon takes the... Oh, what are they called? Their crystal thing that gives them... that boosts their power. He steals that from, Sonia. Sonia and Rauru love each other, and they unite the Zonai and the Hylians. Okay, so this is the first one. So here's the Zonai who has the different powers for the sages. So 1, 2... So, okay, so we have Sage of Water, the Sage of Fire. Because Sage of Water is Zora. Sage of Fire is Goron. Sage of Lightning is Gerudo. Sage of Wind is Rito. Then there's the Soul Sage, which right now is still a Zonai. That's 5. 5. There is the Sage of Light, which at the time was gonna be so... No. Light is Rauru. Time is Sonia. Which is now Zelda. Because Zelda got that gem. And Link has Rauru's arm, which makes him the Sage of Light. Okay, that's all of them. So anyway, the Zonai ruled the skies with the Hylians at the bottom on the surface. Then Rauru fell in love with Sonia. They united both. Ganon went like hell nah, stole Sonia's gem thingy, and killed her. And then he used that power to become the Demon King, and the Demon King sends his armies to go after Hyrule. And then there is something over here, which I kind of want to see. Okay. Then Demon King goes rar and fights against Rauru and the sages. They couldn't be, and then, this is B when he got sealed. Zelda restored the Master Sword in the past. Actually, or is that... Yeah, that would be restoring from the past. No, the restoring happens before this fight. So this is when she decides that, because Ganon would have had to gotten sealed here, because they couldn't beat him up. So Rauru sacrificed himself to seal Ganon, and then Zelda's like, we can't win in this time! So she goes turn dragon with the Master Sword in her head. That's her turning into a dragon. How does Tingle fit to all of this? So Tingle does not fit in the Zelda well, does not fit in this. I don't think he's even referenced in this game yet. If he is, I haven't found him. But I would say he's so outworldly on the other realm of everything that he can't even fit the timeline. He's so far past Hylians and the Zonai and whatever other deities are in this game. He's his own entity. How you doing? Okay. Ganon, I think, is this way. I don't want to fight him yet, but I do want to see what's over here. My curiosity is getting the best of me. It's why he doesn't appear in all the games. He's just his own entity. He does his own thing. I do have the Master Sword. I've had it for a while. But I am curious what's over here, if it's what I think it is. It is! Okay, it is what I remembered. So Ganon's probably, like, down here somewhere. But I want to see it, but I don't want to fight him. So I'm saving here. I will nope out. I want to finish other things first. But I want to see, because I am curious. I've been avoiding this for, like, I don't know how many hours in this game now. Gloom's Lair. That sounds fancy. I did the most last minute save from that. Where am I? What is this? I don't need a torch. I got beetle armor. I'm loving the music, though. That doesn't... I want to fully complete the game before I fight him, but I have to see. It doesn't make sense in your brain? I could try to explain what I know so far, for what I've explored. What parts are you confused about? This keeps going down, and how are we not in the center of the planet at this point? Ooh. That kind of looks like a heart. I can't help it. Curiosity. I had to go down the hole. This kind of looks like a heart. Okay, we're gonna see this and probably leave. Roar! I think I just... Tulin? Helen? What? You guys didn't want to travel with me! Right on, best lad.
We shall protect Hyrule together.
We're not done. Okay. I'll let you guys have your spiel.
The Gerudo owe you for your help. You can count on me.
Oh wait, she is here.
I will atone for my past failure. It is time to stop the demon king.
Oh right, I did finish her quest. Never mind, because I was like, I still need to make sure the I forget her name can travel outside of the temple grounds, but cool, perfect. This one. I am not used to all you guys being in my way. Do, 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 do. Rude. Hee I was gonna leave and yet I'm still fighting them. Ow. Come here, dude. I'll press the button. Yeah, part of the reason why I'm staying is because I want to listen to the music. Ow, who hit me? You. Thank you for those. I'm fighting them so casually. Boop. Boop. Oops. Ow. Fine, I'll pay attention to you. Come here. Demon King's army. Fight me. There we go. Both you and the Lionel listen to the fight me a little too easily. Hold up. I don't want that. I do want all of this loot, though. Excuse me, guys, I'm looting. Okay. Gunabo doesn't need help. Do 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 do. Round 2. You know what? Screw this. Come here. Rude! Stop spitting on me! Let me dismount! Gyptos! Oh, this will be easy. Riju, where are you? Tail! Fine. Don't mind me, guys. I'm just looting. Why are you guys crawling? Wait, where is Riju? There she is. Come here. I missed. There we go. Woo! Nope! None of that horror stuff. Get out of here. You guys got the last two, right? I want all this loot. Woo! He really wanted me. Come here. Maybe this. Oh, that's a shield. Never mind. Are you guys having trouble with the Gypto? Yes, there is. Yes. Give me the bone. What round are we on? 4? Oh, does that mean we're gonna go against Lionel's soon? So we did the Goblins, the Zolfos, Gypto, now, Moblins. Do this again. Roar! There we go. Do 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 do. Tail! Fine. Ah, broke. This one. Do do do. Ganon, try harder.
That gloom, it means but one thing. The Demon King is there. Huh?
Roar! Ooh, can I take a photo of you? I don't have your photo. I have yours. And yours. It's not the first one.
More obstacles in our path, but our foe is mistaken if he thinks this will stop us.
We have fated to fight these beasts. Don't worry about us. Link, we'll take care of this, Goro. You ready to see the power of a sage?
We'll be fine. We already beat them once.
No, I beat them once. Twice.
The rest is up to you.
You'll be okay, right? It'll be fine. I still kind of want to continue forward, but also don't at the same time. You know what? We're gonna continue forward. Why not? Jeffrey! Hi! Because curiosity has gotten the better of me, we are continuing the story, which, probably isn't the smartest thing, but I really want to. I'll fight them again with, like, the full gear that I want. But, yeah. You did! When stream started, I had back-to-back sub bombs from various folk. So like 43 people got, well, 42 people got subs today. Like I think 30 of them, 31 of them was like anonymous? Maybe more? I don't know, but it was a lot. I'm gonna beat up Ganon as a beetle. Yeah, I wasn't expecting because I didn't have any of my stream stuff ready for it. And then... Wait,
Should be shrouded in darkness, not bathed in insufferable light.
He's still dehydrated!
These weak, peace-loving cowards running rampant. It would have been more satisfying to overcome a worthy foe.
He's still dehydrated! Dehydrated Ganon! What happened to you being all demon king-y? Should you be all demon form? Probably gonna regret asking about that. There he is! He's a transform! He was just waiting to show off when we appeared. You're not even Demon King yet, you're just Gerudo now. Turn demon! Turn all monster! I want to see the horns.
Regardless, I will reshape this world as it was meant to be. I will crush any opposition. I will rule. That is what a king must do.
He still has an amazing voice. I love his voice. What happened if I just threw something heavy on his toes?
Do not look away.
You know how many of those swords I have stolen from you?
Witness a king's revival. And the birth of his new world.
Name-wise, it's either Sassy or Spectre. I am fine with either. That was still recharging, by the way.
How about this?
Rude. Ow. You still cause gloom.
Start.
Why am I having trouble blocking yours? I always have trouble with the sword one. You know what? We're doing this. There we go. Perfect. How do I fight you? For some reason, I can fight all other forms of him. I always have trouble with the sword. He's trying to be all menacing. Too early.
Is that all?
Wait, that only gives 1 damage on me? Too late. Too early. When's the timing for that? I got it once. Too early. Oh yeah, stream always feels a lot better when you have someone to chat with.
Pathetic.
Like, son of a biscuit, Ganon. Apparently my timing is terrible right now. Because... I know that stream doesn't feel... Okay, the one I can actually block better. Come here. That stream feels... difficult when you're by yourself. Oops. Oh, he can dodge too? That was cool. Okay. I have to pretend I'm fighting another Link that's like 3 times his size. Come on. Early. It's merely a flesh wound, sir. Mace. Oh, I forgot about that. I have to time that better. Okay. Woo! I took some cheap shots on him. Come on, sir. Too early. Come on, sir. Guardians are harder than you. Come on. I'm just impatient.
What a feeling. I'd almost forgotten the thrill of battle. That feeling as blood surges in my veins. I am not even near the limits of my power.
Ooh, you're gonna go spiky now? Round 2. Fight. This is the better look.
Enjoy these fights.
You're gonna get beaten by a beetle.
I will be taking far more than you're on this time.
Oh, there's more than one of you now. Oh, I get help.
I'll fight the Demon King.
Ow. Okay. I missed. Well, I'll just get the real one each time. Why not? You know what? I should probably use this bow. Sir, the health bar is illegal by video game standards. Enjoy the anime, Rebel.
finish him off, Luke.
Switch back to a spear, please. That works. I don't think I've ever had Ganon this long of health. I'll keep his copies distracted. Ow. So I can focus on the real one. Ow. Thank you. Come here, sir. Bite me. Ow. I saw that one shadow die. Sidon's the best fighter next to Link. He already 1v1'd his. Come on. Dude, this music's amazing. I want to see what Ganon's desperate move is going to be now that I'm kicking his butt. Too early. Rude. Come on. Too early again. I don't have another one, but I can probably do that though. Gotcha. Aha! He is happy. He's like, it's been zillions of years. Finally, a worthy opponent. He did a Chaos Blast.
No! You shouldn't.
Oh, snap. Oh, you cheat. Too early again. I kind of like that he can dodge. Oh boy. Oh, I got it. Stop switching to a sword. I can't time it with the sword. Thank you. Too early again. I might as well, instead of trying to parry his sword, I might as well just try to dodge backwards. Oh, I perma lost another heart. I can't dodge those, okay? Like, block those. Oh, you broke that in one hit? What is this? Yo! I'm gonna keep on taking cheap shots. Ow. I don't know, this Link has already almost died like 3 times. Like, the only reason he survived in Breath of the Wild was because of Zelda. And the only reason he survived in this was technically also because of Zelda. And Raru. Oops, I timed that. I scooted that wrong. Get out of here. Woo! Sir! Get out of here. Ugh. Cheap shots! Here we go. Ow. I only had 3 hearts. Oh boy. I can't dodge that as well, but okay, it's fine. Stop it with the goop. I am losing max health. He's taking my essence. Do this instead. I know he can dodge too, but still. Come on. Darn it! Oh my god, stop it with that. Fair. I want to see a version of Ganon or the user of power that isn't evil. Like, what if wisdom was evil? What if courage was evil? I think that would be interesting. His hair looks like lava.
The immortal will not stand in my way.
Are you gonna eat it? Are you gonna turn dragon? Because I can't kill a dragon.
Everything. Sacrifice it all to destroy you.
Ganon's such a sore loser.
World into eternal night.
That looks so cool. Link ticked him off. I actually beat the Ganon without any prep. I almost ran out of hearts. No, yeah, no, I get it. Like, story-wise, it would be interesting for them to like go through other routes. Personally, I rather them rotate the roles. Like, it would be nice to see like any one of those roles can get corrupted. It shouldn't only be power. Because you can use your power for good, and you can use your wisdom for evil. It would be interesting to see it like that. Like, imagine an evil Zelda. An evil Hyrule. Oh, he looks so pretty! He's floofy, I want to boop him. Boop the snoot. Demon Dragon. Demon Dragon Ganon. He looks so pretty. Link's stuck between his teeth. Is Zelda finally gonna do something? Hi, Zelda. Can you cuddle him? I'll find a way. I know, right? Oh, he's huge! Because Zelda's already like a really big dragon, so he's huge. Wait, that means he's even bigger than the goddesses. Because Naja, Farouche, and Dinral are the goddesses as a dragon. Dragon fight. Oh my god! So big! He's so big! What am I gonna do to fight that? Do I just poke him in the eye? Rawr, do I give him a toothache? How is this gonna work? I have no health. Oh, hey, I can actually heal though. Da, 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 da. eat bananas. That should be enough. He's so fluffy! How is this gonna- I don't know how this is gonna work. Let me switch my shield. Switch to a new one. I kinda want to switch armors, but I also don't. My only other full armor. I haven't. You have a good night, Jeffrey. Thank you for stopping by. I haven't even gotten Link's like hero outfit yet, because Link has one. I think this set's called Hero of the Wilds. You know what? Screw this. Bye, Zelda. Oh. There's parts I'm supposed to hit. Okay. I might as well do this in my glide set, because I can't maneuver very well. Just don't get hit. I missed. I missed again! I have to get closer? There we go. Zelda, pick me up! Thank you! No, I'm gonna use his own bow against him. Thank you! No, a 3 is better. These are better. Zelda, pick me up. Thank you! Free! Free falling! And I go... Oop. Thank you, ma'am. Sir, come here. I am trying to bow you. Come here. You're zooming a little too fast for me. Thank you. Why is that not doing anything? There we go. It's gonna be a while. Yup! Too deep now. I got too I got too curious. So I'm letting curiosity let me fight. Whee! It's fine, we got to see pretty Ganon. It's fine, he needs help. He has some, like, weird-looking pimples. Well, I'm not standing on him. He's very Gloom. I didn't expect this to go this way. Like, this fight. Like, I figured Ganon was gonna do some, like, last-ditch effort to try to beat me like he always does, but I didn't really expect him to turn into a dragon. But it makes sense. I didn't also think he was gonna be this big. biscuit. There we go. I'll to use key size that I need. But, actually, I could use the Gypto bone and just get more later. I think that does more damage. There's the Gypto. Did I pass it? There's the wing. Here it is. At 8. Hold up. Did I get it? I popped it! Okay, yeah, the Gypto bone was a good idea. Zelda, catch me! Thank you, ma'am. Oh, I think I made him angry. I missed. How am I missing? Get it. Thank you. Oh, get out. Okay, that's 2. How angry do you guys think he is right now? He's such a pretty dragon, though. Okay, next one to pop. This one. Oop, I heard that pop. Gypto makes this faster! Gypto bones. I forgot about that because I was collecting those to fight the Gleeoks. Because I need Gleeok parts. But I didn't want to spend a million years fighting them. Okay, so I gotta go up higher. Also, give myself some more strength, so this one. Woo! Dodge this! I feel like this is easier than, like, his other phases put together. Ah, biscuit. I say as I like to fight in the air a lot. I don't think everyone does. I already got it. Oh boy! That doesn't look good! Catch me! Everything turned red! Oh, I gotta get his face. Am I supposed to shoot it, or am I supposed to stab it? Let's try it. I got Keith's eyes somewhere. Anywhere? I'm not using the fire ones. Where's the regular ones? Don't I have regular Keith's eyes? Did I just completely ignore them? That's Aracuda. I need those. Here they are. Let's find out if it's Keith's. Guess not. Went to his face and stuff. Stab. I win. A step. He's been stepped. Don't fall, Link. Now does that kill him or turn him back into immortal? She's just casually flying by him. Taunting him. This is so pretty. That's a big explosion. Is everybody down there on the bottom okay? Because that's huge. That looked like that hit land. Oh, that hit Kurok Forest. On that side. I think the Kuroks are okay. Raru? Oh. He only has his pants and shoes on. Raru and Sonia. Are they gonna try to help Zelda? She gonna turn into Zelda again? She turned back to Zelda. I thought that was not supposed to be possible. That once you become a dragon, you're kind of just stuck as one. He got his arm back. He's no longer disabled. They're like, you're not allowed to use this power anymore. Goodbye. Rauru didn't want to hang out with Link anymore. So, Link, how are you gonna save her and Paraglide? I only have part of my skydiving outfit. And I can't wear the rest. You can only have the pants. Man, you're falling way too fast. Come here. This time he didn't miss. Okay, there's water. That should have hurt. Like, diving head first like that? With straight on just your head? That should hurt. At minimum.
Link, how are you? I was...
Wait, she has the little tear markings on her cheeks now.
We reached you, after all. He's gone. The Demon King.
Yep. For now.
Not in a dream, right?
No, we won.
You did it.
I'll beat him up again.
Oh, Link, you really did it. But how am I?
Raru and Sonia said that you should come back.
No, I understand. I had been sleeping all this time.
That's a big sleep.
When I felt something, like a warm, loving embrace, I woke up.
So... turning into a dragon just means you're sleeping?
Thank you.
So if they wake up, they turn back?
I met such wonderful people. I saw Hyrule as it was. so much to tell you. So much happened. Oh, Link. I'm home.
Those earrings look heavy. But cute. Hi to Princess Zelda. Well, I did say I wanted to beat quests. Just kind of beat them out of order. I didn't finish everything. I will finish it. I will fight him again. The proper way. But now my curiosity has been, apparently satiated. That was interesting. If it's the same as Breath of the Wild, it should save, like, right before fighting him, in general. Yeah, it should save right before fighting Ganondorf and his forces in general. I was actually fully expecting the forces fight was gonna continue, but I guess it makes sense, because, like, I thought it was gonna be every single enemy he has, but we didn't fight a Hinox, or the Frox, or... what was the other one? Talus. Didn't fight those. But, yeah. I guess they wouldn't be able to figure out how to have a Madolga down there to fight, because they need the sand to surf around. That was interesting. I hate that I wasn't surprised that he turned into a dragon, but I think the only reason was because I already know Zelda turned into one. So why wouldn't Ganon not use the same way to turn into Ganon, like turn into a dragon, if it's the only way to beat Link? Because Link can't beat a dragon by himself. You need another dragon to beat up a dragon. Which in this case was just her catching him over and over again, but still. I liked that the sages popped in and out to help, but I still had plenty of 1v1 time. I was still surprised that I beat him with like 3 health left. Though interesting that he can just perma remove your health though, but then makes sense given that that's what happened to Link and how he lost his arm in the beginning of the game. Because Ganon kind of just took all of his health and almost killed him from first meet. Like usual, Ganon was a little too cocky. Like all other Ganons. He could have just tried to get rid of Link, make sure he was dead to guarantee his win, but... I do want to try... I'm still gonna play this game and try to get, collect everything else. I really wanted to see what would happen, but also did it at the same time. I want to beat him officially with the Zonite armor. And gear. I want to see how that would go. That's a lot of grinding, so I'm just gonna wait for that one. How did you guys like the game? Just gonna watch the credits, because we always watch the credits. Basically know the main story. Zonites is the canon ending, correct. Especially since that would be after when I go against him with the Zonite armor. Is going to be after I complete every side quest, collect everything, do every shrine, max out all armors and horses and all that stuff. So canon ending for me feels like Link finished everything before beating up Ganon. Because Ganon was just patiently waiting for him anyway. He didn't feel like a constant looming threat, he just felt like an annoyance that I would eventually finish cleaning up as I clean up the other smaller messes. I do like that I was able to beat him without prep, though, because I kind of just walked in there going like, you know what, I want to know what happens. The music's too good. I kind of wish, though, like, after the fight, I know why they did it to have Zelda return, because Zelda always has to come back so the loop can continue and whatever. But it would have been kind of, like, somewhat interesting, satisfying maybe, if, like, the sacrifice was actually a sacrifice, that she can't, there's no take-backs. She's just stuck as a dragon. Especially after establishing that you can't come back. I kind of wanted Link to keep his prosthetic instead of getting his limbs back. Oh yeah, I need to upgrade all the sages. I've only upgraded Tulin. I haven't upgraded them yet because I need to go find them in the sky, and one of them's protected by King Gleok, and I don't want to fight that yet until I'm like properly prepared because he's harder to fight. Yeah, I'm just gonna go the route that Raruk didn't want to share his arm anymore with Link. He didn't want to be around Link's antics anymore, but that's about it. Fixing disabilities at the end of stories is too complicated. Yeah, like, I'd rather Link just keep it. Like, what's bigger than beating up a dragon version of Ganon? I don't think this Link would fight Ganon anymore. Just let him retire. Live whatever kind of life he imagines outside of combat. He can go back to being a lefty. Pretty sure this Link's mostly ambidextrous anyway. Just have him be a nub. Like, if they don't want him to have the abilities anymore, he could just be a nub. Because Rauru himself in the beginning of the game said he couldn't save the arm, so he shouldn't get his arm back. Like, I'm pretty sure when the game first came out, one of the biggest things people were excited about was that Link is disabled. And he lost a limb. A lot of warriors lose limbs in combat. Just let him have a perma scar that isn't just him being more silent. Because at least in Link's case, him being disabled, like with like a missing arm, is not gonna impede future Links from appearing. Like, I can understand the argument if you take Zelda out of the equation, there can't be any other Zeldas. Because you need a Zelda to continue the wisdom, whatever it's called, the Triforce of Wisdom side. I can at least understand that argument, but Link being a disabled swordsman who is ambidextrous is not gonna ruin anything. He could just become a trainer. Retire, train the soldiers of Hyrule. Go say hi to Fish Husband. Which, actually kind of funny, Sidon was the only one that fought the best outside of Link in that entire combat war thing. And he has the same amount of experience as Riju. They're both royals. And then Tulin's the one upgraded, so he should have been able to fight better. So I upgraded him first. Nintendo is the author of this software for the purpose of copyright. All rights reserved to copyright Nintendo. This means New Game Plus, right? Does this one have New Game Plus like Breath of the Wild does? It continues. Minoru! I remembered her name finally.
I can't believe such an impressive landmass can float in the sky.
Believe it.
Just when I thought I'd started to figure the Zonai out.
Everyone, I am glad I was able to bring you all here. I wanted to share this view of Hyrule with all of you.
Whoa. I've never been this far up before, Goro.
Wow, what a sight it is. And Zelda, you were roaming the skies all along?
Yes, although I don't really remember. I never thought I would actually stand here again.
This is only a theory, but Raru's power of light and Sonia's time power. For Zelda to transform back, they both must have channeled their abilities through you, Link.
I see.
They reversed time for her to come back. So that she never became a dragon, basically. But still has the memories of becoming a dragon?
Now it seems it is my time.
Minoru!
Do not worry. You have overcome the burden my era left to you. You have proven yourself, and you no longer need me. I know I can move on, join Raru and the others, and the world will be safe.
What are they planning?
Those of us gathered here swear on our lives to support the princess and... Oh. To support Princess Zelda and safeguard the land of Hyrule.
Link's just debating what he needs to do. He's so tired. I don't...
Raru and Sonia will be happy to hear of this.
The lad needs a nap.
Minoru!
And I'll let them know just how much you care. Thank you all.
I guess this works. It's like 20 minutes-ish when I end. I have 4 o'clock as my cutoff point.
King Rara, Queen Sonia, Minoru. The ancient sages. They wished not only to save Hyrule from the Demon King, but for it to see eternal peace. I will dedicate myself to that goal. Now, and for all time. My friends, with all of your strength, stand with me.
Also, a thought. From what I remember. Okay, so let's start with this. Ganon did not say. I guess he can't say because he was a dragon going all rar, but like he never said that he will be back. Because if I remember correctly, all other Ganons, when you beat them, is like he'll be back because he always comes back. Blah blah blah. Can never get rid of him. So if he can't come back because we destroyed him as a dragon, that would mean this is the very, very, very end of the timeline. Before it starts to loop. Where does this save me? Oh, that's a little star. Click. Must see. Link just needs a nap. An evil man who lived long ago in the era of Hyrule's founding. His legend claims that this Gerudo man... What? Okay, so it's saved right before I kill him. But it has a star, so he's actually in the stuff. I didn't take a photo of him, by the way. I was too distracted to, like, fighting him that I didn't take a photo. Oops. And I think I needed to take a photo of each stage. I don't know if I can take a photo of the dragon version, though. Maybe I could have. I don't know. But, I have all of these quests still to go. I got so distracted. Let's not be tempted anymore and just go over here. Yeah. I think that was a good run. I think I did good. That was interesting. Do I lose all of my... No, I still have my gear. Perfect. That mean I got my food still? I got my food still. Good. Okay, so we totally did not just spend like a good portion of stream fighting Ganon. We've been fighting monsters and getting all the loot. Lionel. I should not be this excited for Lionels, but here I am. Oh wait, he has armor. I need to do this. Fight me. Silver one. Okay, come here. Perfect. So I get to fight with the Master Sword. Fighting a lot of Lionels today. Oh, it broke. Fight me. Oops. I think I would end with killing this Lionel. But let me do the thing. Do-do-do-do. Gonna do fire again? You're gonna do fire again. Woo! I barely dodged that. Wonder if I can... That's good. I barely dodged that. I don't know how he missed. How did you... Got him. Come on, there we go. I could end with that fight. I think that would be good. And grab his loot. I got guts. Perfect. Save. Okay, is there anyone I can raid? Let me see. Who's live? Okay, let's see. Beetle's playing Left 4 Dead 2. Dark Accord is playing Minecraft. Omen's Monster Hunter Wild. Syraxis is Monster Hunter Wild. Mars is Dead by Daylight. And Ibuki is Into the Dead. Does anyone have a preference? I don't know who to raid. So weird to see so many subs. It's so weird. I maybe not Monster Hunter Wilds because I don't want spoilers for that one. Don't want to watch DBD. I can see what in Minecraft. Zombies, solo. Well, I haven't been to Mookie streams in a while. So looks like Into the Dead is a zombie game? But we're gonna raid Imuki. I haven't been I haven't been to an Imuki stream in a hot minute. First things first. Did it work? It worked. So I do actually have a raid message for now. It doesn't have emotes yet. Haven't decided for that, but for now, we're going to raid a movie. Yes, Bella helped me with the raid message. You guys spelled Imuki right? Yes, we're gonna raid a Mookie. I'll be back tomorrow with Minecraft. Thank you guys for stopping by. I had fun. I wasn't actually planning on beating up Ganon, but I guess we did. I plan on playing Zelda on Thursdays. I might rotate. Don't know yet. For now, we're gonna raid a Mookie who is playing some sort of zombie side-scroller zombie game. But for now, thank you guys for stopping by. I'll see you next time.